G'day again. We're going to blow the lid on what's going on for men. This will probably become the Grab Life by the Balls podcast. So, welcome. We're going to blow the lid on what's actually going on for all men. From all walks of life, we all have our own challenges, our own ups and downs. And maybe you don't want to talk about it, which is fair enough, like who really wants to. We were labelled as a pussy or weak or insert anything else there. Hey, Jason, thanks again. And we want to create more inspired, empowered, on-purpose men. Hey, Ryan, just trying to add someone to the feed so we can interview them in a podcast sort of style. It'll probably become a podcast because there's some other guys ready to... I've spoken to some other guys about doing the same thing. Hey, Jamie, we're just waiting for... Everyone else is coming on, which is great. Getting a good crew. I am just waiting for the one guy in particular to come on. And so we can have a chat about his journey. All right, he's liked my video. Hold on. Is he watching it? Oh, here we go. Adding. It's working. Hold on. Thanks for being here, Ryan. Hey, Giesa. Yeah,
Hey,
we got it.
Sammy.
Woo!
Oh my God.
Yes.
That was a nightmare.
That's gonna. I hate editing all the audio and stuff if we turn this into a podcast. So I've got plenty of stuff to do now. That was epic, man. Everyone, welcome. Welcome to. I'll do the intro again so I can cut it from here. So if you haven't watched, this is probably going to become the Grab Life by the Balls podcast at the Grab Life by the Balls movement. Hey, Jamie. We're all about creating inspired, empowered, and on-purpose men. So we can create better communities, we can have better relationships with our family. The more we've got our own shit together, the better everything else is around us, and the better we can lead by example. And to backtrack to that, to make that not seem too high above where we're all at, is that acknowledging that we all have some challenges, no matter from what walk of life or what your background is, we all have our own set of challenges. And one of them is a lot of stereotypes in Australia about being weak or a pussy, about sharing stuff, or that it's just not what we're done. We're told to toughen up if we do speak up and talk about things or get and all that. So with that in mind, oh no, we've lost Giesa. Anyway, with that in mind, he'll come back in a sec, I'm sure. With that in mind, we're going to have a chat with Shane. I knew Shane back in the day when I was playing at the Melbourne Cricket Club. It was a little bit of a time ago, before I had grey hair, and he was a gun. He was this young kid that came in. I think he was a few years younger than me and came in, and he was an absolute gun. He had some injury issues and all sorts of things, but he was. I thought I was all right at cricket, but he was definitely way better than me. And he's had some ups and downs on his journey since I stopped playing at that club, and then he's now a new dad. So he's on a mission to help dads, because men don't really get too much of the info. All the women get all the info about what it's like to be a dad. So Giese, I've just given a quick background as to how good you were at cricket. Yeah, and all that sort of thing. Yeah, well, you're much better than me. So yeah. And now you're a young dad. So and you've had a bit of a journey in between. I knew you we've reconnected in the last few months. We've been trying to make this happen for a couple of months.
It's been a long process.
Yeah, and then I left. I went and played cricket at another club for a bit. So yeah, we kind of haven't connected for a while, but we've now connected. So Giesa, you want to let the guys know what you're up to and what's been happening?
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on.
Pleasure.
It seems like a really good. I'm sorry, I'm spewing. I'm down in Victoria. It's a nice sunny day though. So
mate, you're welcome anytime.
The
let us know.
Look fantastic. Yeah, I will. Basically, when my daughter was born, my partner and I, we were going to lots of doctors, and we're going to just get lots of advice. We're going to, just a lot of classes and things like that. We're learning a lot. And I noticed that a lot of the things were targeted to the mums out there, and I was just gutted because I really wanted to get involved a lot more, but it just didn't really seem to, have any traction with the men. It just seemed like, and people that I always talk to, they always, oh, my partner will do that, or this and that and the other. And just, I really wanted to make a difference. I feel like, the tides are changing these days, and I want men to realize that it's okay, and to have a crack, and that's it's just as much for raising a child is just as much for men as it is for women. So yeah, I want to make that difference, and start spreading that word.
Yeah, cool, mate. So yeah, it's pretty fun, isn't it? Like all of a sudden we had like a week in hospital, but there's like and this is what I'm doing a talk aimed at the ladies, because they're ready to hear this stuff and they want to know what's going on with the men. There'll be details somewhere above or below wherever watching this or whatever. But you kind of start shitting yourself soon as you start talking about having a kid, or all this holy shit you're pregnant. You kind of start shitting yourself as to becoming the provider, and stepping your game up, and things just get a whole lot more serious, because all of a sudden your individual focus all of a sudden becomes even more about someone else, if it's not already when you're married, or you've got a long-term partner. It's pretty hectic. Like I know I got a bit stressed out about it, but then also like toughened up and stepped up pretty quickly. But it was like, it was pretty full on. And then all of a sudden, we had an interesting journey. It wasn't what we'd planned. And then, we were in hospital a bit longer than a day, like we were there for about a week or so. But then all of a sudden, holy shit, you're at home. Okay, I got to change a nappy. When he did sleep, because Jacko didn't sleep for a while, it's like, you're like, is he alive? Yeah, I want to wake him up, because like he's never slept like that. Is he? And just so many little things. Hey, like what's going on? Why is he crying? And is he eating enough? And why did he throw up?
Yeah, and I feel so guilty. Like I know I go to work every day. I'm being a primary school teacher, and my partner Steph's doing an amazing job at home. And I just feel bad I can't support more. She's the one reading the blog. She's the one learning all about this stuff. And I just feel so far behind. I'm asking her to teach me these kind of things where, I should be doing just as much as what she's doing. And especially when she's going back to work full time next year, we'll both be working full time. So I'm definitely going to have to step up then as well, and take the reins on these things. When we go to the doctors, it seems to be Steph always asking the questions, not me.
Yeah.
It seems to be Stephanie reading the books and doing that kind of stuff, whereas I really need to be doing this kind of thing. So yeah, as much as I want to know, I just got to find the right way to do it. And to do that, I need to, I just find a lot of the blogs and things are always mums writing to mums, or, it's a professional, and it's great. I've read them too, but I just can't relate to them.
Yeah.
So I need to, I'm not saying they're right or wrong. I'm just saying, I just can't relate. So I want to, for dads to start talking to dads about this stuff, because it's okay. And that's the message that I want to send out, that, it's okay to be confused, but it's okay, it's okay for things to go wrong. Put your foot in the deep end. But for that to happen, you're going to need to step up a little bit and, and help out along the way. So,
yeah, cool.
That's good. I love being a dad, though. It's awesome. I can tell you what.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's one of the massive things. Hey, it just totally changes. Becoming a dad totally change. Not that if you're not a dad, you may not relate to it, but just a change in life. You've got to keep adapting. It's like when I watch Jacko, who's only a few months ago was starting to walk, or even before, like crawling. He seemed to pick up crawling, like he kind of knew what he wanted to do, but he was like a few months ahead of where his body was at, and it took him forever. And it's like, man, how many times like he kept trying and failing, and kept trying and failing, and kept trying and failing, as I would look at it. But then you actually look at it, and he was actually practicing, and he didn't give up. And like watching kids learn how to walk and do that sort of thing, it's like, whoa, man, that's so cool. Like if I had tried to do something that many times, I would have probably given up about the second or third time. And it's like, oh, hold on.
Yeah.
I'm selling myself short there. That's a limited perspective as to what's going on. Hey,
Absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, and even though if you're not a dad, you're going to be an uncle one day, maybe you're going to be a friend, you're going to be a babysitter. Who knows what you're going to be? It's valuing education, and it's valuing other people's opinions and what they've learned, and what works for one doesn't work for everyone. So yeah, it's all a learning process.
yeah, absolutely. So have you written some stuff up? You were saying.
I've just written, I suppose one of the things that I'm really targeting on is struggle. And, everyone's got their different struggles and things like that. So, I've had a really interesting 3 years to get to this point where I am today. If you had known me 3 years ago, I was a completely different person. And so I may as well tell you my life story now.
Yeah, that's perfect, mate. You made great segue there. I didn't know what to do anything. That's awesome.
Yeah, if anyone watching this, even for yourself, Sam, write down a date, write down something that's a date that's most meaningful to you, or think about a date that's most meaningful to you, and just write that down with a pen or in your mind, whatever it is. So for me, that date for me was May 26th, 2016. That's my special date. Since then, as you know, I've become a dad to a beautiful 6-month-old now. Her name's Isabella. I've got a lifelong partner. I'm thriving in my education. I'm going back to uni, doing another master's in leadership. Feeling really healthy and feeling really well. Also swam the English Channel. Just finished that the end of last year, and that was a really big event for me. Yeah. So that was really cool. So I got through to the other end.
What was the driver for that?
So the big thing for that was so on that date, so I tried to commit suicide. I tried to drown myself in a pool, and so that was a really big event for me, because I was like, life was wasn't healthy. I've been in a depressed state for about 10 years on lots of medications. I've got my own personal issues with just other health and things like that. And so I saw lots of psychologists. Nothing was really working. So I just, it almost seemed like the end of the light there. And so I got to that point. And yeah, on the 26th, I was in a lane by myself. I was in the whole pool by myself. It was a really cold and wet night. And just thought that this was the time. I'd planned it all out and stuff like that. And it was going to be it. And then I just couldn't do it. I just, as much as I tried, I just couldn't bring myself to it. So I was really grateful to have such a wonderful partner, Steph, to help me through it, and other friends around me. And I started talking to other psychologists. I met one. I had tried about 10 psychologists. None of them worked. But I finally had one who, really resonated with me. And he just said, "Look, you're gonna feel shit. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel happy. It's okay to feel all these things." And I'm like, well, I've always enjoyed swimming, but I've never really been a great swimmer. So I was like, well, I've got to face this. So basically, I got to try the biggest swim in the world to try and get over this fear. And yeah, spending 60 hours a week in the pool. I can't complain. So I got to France, and I feel a lot healthier for it. And the only thing I can do now is, in the pool, obviously I struggled. I can go on about my training and stuff if you ever want to hear that stuff.
It's your story, mate.
So basically, with my complexities in my brain, I like to make sure that, so I wouldn't leave a training session until I was feeling sick or throwing up, hypothermic. I spend hours and hours and hours in the pool. It was just facing that fear, facing that struggle really helped me get through to the other end. And ever since then, I've just been so much more positive, because I just realized that, if I had on the 26th, that actually had happened, which, is so sad that it happens to so many in Australia. I wouldn't have had a beautiful daughter. I wouldn't have had, a beautiful partner. I wouldn't have had all these things in my life that's happened in the last 3 years. So, as bad as things get, it can get better. So yeah, and
Man,
that's pretty much
that's pretty much your story. That's a pretty fucking amazing story. Gee whiz,
yeah,
man. So let's talk about the swim, the actual swim. Like, surely,
yeah.
like I've done a half marathon and it was basically on no training, so that was quite a challenge. But like swimming the English Channel like pales in comparison. Like I know for me I was cramping up and all sorts of things and never done a run that far and all these sorts of things, and it was quite a relief. It was like amazing how far your body almost gave up, but that your mind would keep ticking over, and it kind of raises the barrier of it pushes you outside your comfort zone, but it also pushes you like way outside. Like when you push against a perceived wall, and then all of a sudden you break through that, it may feel shit, but it's like there's something in you that just keeps going. Like, how'd you go on the swim? Like that would have been insane.
Yeah, man. So I was really well prepared. I was training about between 30 to 40 hours a week for about a year and a half before. Every day, sometimes twice a day, and weekends. And so I was really well prepared for all conditions. So I started at 1:30 in the morning in Dover, and yeah, it turned out that the first 47 Ks, it was the currents were pretty good to me. But the last 3, so that took me 10 hours for the first 47. And then the last 3 kilometers took me 3 hours. The currents just changed, they just turned, and yeah, they call it the graveyard because so many boats turn around there. But yeah, I just thought, I have to do this for myself, for everyone back at home. I just had to do it, and yeah, got there. So those 3Ks were a battle. They were a nightmare, but touching.
Oh man, that's insane.
I've got a good video I can send to you for those who.
Oh,
are
we would love to
interested.
share the shit out of that.
Me landing. So yeah, the struggle was real then, but we got there. So very grateful.
That's have we did I miss this in our conversations of trying to tee this up, or
I'm not too sure.
I'm
very quiet about it.
Yeah.
So and the thing about it is, this is the first time I've ever been. I obviously my close friends know why I did English Channel, but a lot of the time I lie to people and I say, oh, just my housemate dared me, whatever. So yeah, just because if I tell people the real reason why I swim it, people, it would have been me opening up. But my close friends know about it, family. Some family know about it. I guess they'll know more about it now. So yeah, and now I know like those negative thoughts have gone, and I can only see more as a positive light and talking to others in a similar situation.
Yeah, well, so on that, like, do you still get negative thoughts? They're just not as dark as what they used to be, or do you just have
a
different frame of reference now?
Yeah, I definitely get them, but I've got strategies that support me with it. Yeah. So I've got my own personal strategies, and I use them, and straight away they just flip my thinking. So yeah, that comes with really good mentoring, really good coaching with my psychologist. Who I'll probably catch up with again soon.
Cool.
But I don't have the thoughts of self-harming and stuff. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm blown away. Like I didn't know.
I haven't swum since.
Oh, don't blame me. Like it's not something that comes very naturally to me, even though I'm at the beach most days. But that's epic. Yeah. Like that's insane. That's not like I'm just going to run a marathon just because I can, or swim a marathon because like a marathon swims what 5Ks.
Yeah, it's 10Ks marathon swim.
Okay, so you did basically 5 marathon swims in one go.
Yeah. It was a long day. KFC never tasted, and KFC and beers was never so good after a swim in my whole life. Oh my god.
Oh, cool. Well, I'm just blown away. Like I did not know that. Unless I'm getting Alzheimer's or something. That's.
I don't think I've told you. I don't know.
No. And you have some other interesting tendencies that you now you see as strengths rather than weaknesses. That's what we did touch on. That's where I thought you were going to go. Do you want to touch on them for everyone?
Yeah, no, fair enough. Because I've put my body through so much. Because I've put my body through so much mentally and physically. I know that if I've had a bad day, that I've been through a lot worse. And sometimes you need to hit the bottom to realize that, sure, I get home at 6 and there might be clothes all over the floor, and there might
Always.
be dinner not uncooked, and I've got about 3 hours left of work to do, and Steph has something else to do, and Izzy's crying, and it's like, oh, fuck. But I've realized, that it's okay to be tired. You got to take a deep breath, and it's really not that bad, because I know once it's all done, I'm like, I could either go to Steph and say, what's going on? Or I could say, well, how was your day? And she'll tell me that she's had a shit day and stuff. And that way we can have a conversation about it. And there's no point getting angry about it. There's no point getting frustrated, or, there's no point, getting mad at Izzy or Steph or the world. It's just, it is what it is. It's not just me in this situation. I know I'm tired, but so is everyone else.
Yeah.
And so a strength of that is just to take my time and, just see things for how they really are, and just get it done. Like, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Even though you're really struggling, there's lots of other people struggling, and Steph and Izzy had their own struggles too. So, but we got there, and so it makes home life a lot easier. It makes dad life so much more fun.
Yeah.
It makes my life so much more enjoyable, and I'm really enjoying it. So.
Yeah.
So
mate.
just the big lesson I've learned is just struggle, and that it's going to be okay. Like, as hard as it might be.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you touched on some good points as well, like that you mentioned the psychologist. Like it's okay to have shit thoughts.
Absolutely.
Like all the research says that we pretty much, besides 5 or 10%, we basically have the same thoughts as yesterday, and then most of those thoughts that we are having, about 90% are negative anyway. Like it's so that we don't have them, and it's not just about positive thinking, but it's good to acknowledge the I think you're kind of touching it on there before with the actual truth, like seeing things a bit more outside of yourself sometimes kind of puts things in perspective, but it kind of puts a bit more truth to it, because a lot of the time that stuff that we have going on in our heads, and we all do it. Well, it happens for me too. So I presume, and you're talking about similar things, and the other guys that we've coached and chatted to, we all talk about the same thing. You've got like that. I talk about the inner prick, and that's the guy that's always giving you shit, your biggest critic, yourself, and goes around in your head. And then you chuck that in with the expectations of society, or what you think your mum and dad think you should be doing. The good boy syndrome is the other one we call it. And then you have a look on, you jump on Facebook or, all these sorts of things, and you kind of get that kind of bit of FOMO, or you kind of start judging yourself by what everyone else is doing. We don't have our own guidance system as to what's really important to us, what our strengths are, what we're really good at, and where we really want to go. And that's what, that's that's all the stuff. That's basically what it is about Grab Life by the Balls. But you really touched on some awesome stuff there. It's like, yeah, mate, incredible.
Like one of the greatest things I've learned through my leadership course at uni is, like the best leader is the one who's most honest. And so if you're not honest with yourself, it's not going to resonate with anyone. And sure, you don't have to tell everyone your whole story, but be honest with the people who you work with, people who your relationships and everything, and it just seems everything is so much easier. So
yeah. With all this research and stuff that you've done with dads that you touched on earlier, what's the next step with all that stuff? Where you're at? What's going on?
Yes, I'd like to spread this message along, share my story, but it's just to communicate to dads and to mums and to everyone that, one, struggle is real, but everyone's going through it. You know what I mean? Like, everyone will go, oh, I've had such a bad day. But when you really think about it, and are you catastrophizing it, or is it really, really a bad day? And I know, I've been through some really fucking terrible days, and and then once I reflect, if it's just because, whatever small things happened, is it really that bad in the whole scheme of things? There's a really good book out there called Factfulness. Bill Gates has been endorsing it. It's by a Swedish writer, and I recommend every single person in the world to read it, because it talks about the influence of media and what media has in our lives. I think I've got it in my bookshelf. And
I'll once I edit this. Oh, yeah, cool. Once we once we edit this and I tell everyone what happened on this, I'll chuck the link in there for it too.
Absolutely. I highly recommend it. And it talks about, the world's really not that bad. It's actually improving. And so, every day we hear these terrible things, but that's just creating a downward spiral. And so because of that, and I've actually got another book that I'm reading. Make sure you edit this. It's called...
No, it's good. This is good. It's real.
This one's called Trust Me, I'm Lying. And this book, and it's about a writer who purposely created false media, and talks about the problems with blogging, talks about the problems with newspaper articles, talks about, what we see in the news today, and how much we can have one fact but blow it out to disproportionate lengths, and create something that's completely dishonest. And it's just, I don't want that. There's enough bullshit in the world today. So I want people to start communicating honestly, and to do that, it's gonna have to change the whole society. Like it's a massive ask, but we've got to start somewhere. So that's what I'm.
Well,
trying
I think
to do.
you kind of, and you just mentioned that before at the start of that, which I really loved, was basically, if I can rephrase the way that you said it, but you basically, it sounds like that first point of call in part of your strategy. And I think with the guys that we mentor and coach and guide, and the guys that come in and hang out with us, is that becoming aware is just, your thoughts aren't always true. It's, you've got to get out of your head a little bit, and you've got to question that thought. Fuck, I feel like a failure because of this. Well, actually, hold on. Who says that? Is that actually true? And you can be a dick and keep going down that way, but you can, if you actually sit there and analyze it, or look at the opposite, where have I excelled and that sort of thing, you can reframe that, or you can switch that position so quickly. I think that's, if there's anyone who's having some dramas and stuff, I think that's a good place to start, is just watch that, just question that thought, or have a look, or become aware that that's a thought. Is it actually true? It's probably not.
And where does it come from, and why is it there? There's so many people I know, that's an exaggeration. There's a couple of people I know who need to have a bad day because it's their norm. Like, oh, how was your day today? Oh, yeah, I feel sick again. Oh, this happened and this happened. I'm like, oh, that really sucks, but tell me something good about it. And straight away, like, their face just changes, and, they need people to have empathy for them. And I'm like,
they want people to buy into their story.
So what are you doing about it? Like, tell me something you're doing
exactly.
about it. So sometimes people just need to have a problem when, and that was me to a T. Oh, I feel sick today. Oh, this is happening. And gee, it felt great having people around me saying, oh, can I do this? Or can I help you with this? And I'd always say no. Like, it was nice to feel that people cared, but it feels so much better knowing that I'm having a good day and I can tell people about having a good day. So if you're having a shit time, having a good time is so much better. Trust me.
Cool. All right. Is there anything else you want to add before we kind of pull the pin on this our fourth or fifth attempt of doing a Facebook Live?
I've been more open than I thought I would have been. So whoever watches it, if you ever want to chat about it, more than happy. So,
mate, well, I did want to blow the lid on things, and you blew me away, and you blew the lid on a heap of stuff about what you're going through and coming out the other side. So, mate, epic. I had chills like while you were telling your story. That was huge. I'm sure a lot of people get heaps of benefit out of it. Have you written a bit of an article or something?
I have. It's in the process. I can get that to you really soon, and make sure.
Well, we'll share that. We'll share the crap out of that. We'll put it in the link wherever you're watching this, above or below, or it'll get emailed out at some point. This has been recorded live, so I'll add some info about the books that Shane's mentioned. Talk a bit about his story, and whatever else came up through that. Man, it's been huge. The other thing I better add, in the society that we live in today, this is no way, shape or form trying to say that we have an answer for any kind of mental health condition or disorder. Please see a physician. Definitely. Or whatever whatever the politically correct thing is. We're not here for that. We are looking at having some aligned mental health practitioners. So if you do like someone, Giesa, I'll give you a buzz after we've done this to get in touch with your psychologist. But we're looking for like-minded psychologists and other mental health professionals to cover the bases where Grab Life by the Balls doesn't have all the answers, and we're quite happy to admit that. Yeah, man. Awesome. Thanks for being on.
Thank you.
We did it.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone,
Thanks
for watching. If you've only just got on, check it out from the start. Awesome interview. Grab Life by the Balls, all about blowing the lid on what's really happening for men across Australia and the world to create more inspired and empowered on-purpose men, not just for them, but for their families, their mates, their work colleagues, their partners, their children. And we want to make a massive difference in the community. We want to have a massive difference on all the stats and the suffering statistics, the terrible statistics about men, particularly in Australia. Check us out. # Grab Life by the Balls, Grab Life by the Balls movement on Instagram and Facebook, as well as grabalifebytheballs.com.au. Giesa, thanks for being here. Epic, mate. I'll give you a buzz in a sec. Everyone else, thanks for having a watch. We'll chat soon. See you guys.